everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to make a video addressing a topic that I have seen quite a lot on social media, and I was really inspired to make this video. As you have probably gathered by the title already, I'm going to be discussing the topic of, do blind people care about the new blind emojis? The short answer to this is, of course, yes. But in today's video, I'm going to be breaking it down for you and discussing a little bit about this and really addressing some of the pushback that the blind emojis have received from sighted people who don't understand how or why blind people or visually impaired people use emojis. If you are new to my channel, then hello, welcome. My name is Emily. I make videos about disability awareness as well as fashion and lifestyle as well. And for those of you who are wondering, who haven't been to my channel before, yes, I do have a visual impairment myself. I am severely sight impaired due to a condition called septo-optic dysplasia and nystagmus. I will leave links to videos to those down below if you're interested and want to know more about my conditions and what I can see. And if you would like to support my channel, you can do so by simply clicking the subscribe button and also clicking the notification bell to receive updates when I post new videos. On the 28th of October 2019, Apple launched 60 new emojis, with 13 of them representing different aspects of disability. There were a variety of different emojis that were in this new selection to represent different disabilities and icons of disability. There's a prosthetic limb, there are sign language emojis, there are emojis to represent different mobility disabilities, and there are of course emojis to represent visual impairment, including a guiding cane, a person using a guiding cane in different genders and skin tones, and my personal favourite, a guide dog. Yes! We finally have a guide dog emoji. It has finally happened. And when the disability community heard that we were getting new emojis, we were all understandably very excited and very happy about this, because for the longest time there has only been one emoji to represent disability, which has been the wheelchair symbol, which is kind of like the standardized symbol to represent disability. And many of us in the disabled community didn't think that this represented us and the breadth and the spectrum of disabilities that there were out there. So for a very long time now, a lot of us have been really trying to push Apple to make some disability related emojis, more than just one, because we are a big demographic in the world, and quite frankly, one emoji to represent disability is not enough. And now that we finally have some emojis, we are all very happy about it. Now, the emojis that seem to have come under scrutiny in terms of disability are the blind or sight loss related emojis. Now, the reason for this is because people on social media have been making what they probably perceive to be humorous jokes about the fact that Apple have created emojis for a community that can't even see these emojis, so why on earth would they make emojis for blind people when they can't see them? Now, I have been responding to comments as and when I see them and trying to educate people about emojis and how people with sight loss can use them, and I am quite happy to do that. But I also wanted to make this video for those of you who don't feel like you can be bothered to have to explain 50,000 times on social media how you use emojis as a visually impaired person. So my friends, that is where I come in. Now, first of all, I feel like I have made this statement in countless sight loss related videos. 93% of people who live with sight loss in the UK alone have some remaining vision, or they can see something, meaning that only around 7% of the people who have visual impairments are totally blind, meaning they have no vision whatsoever. When you look at the demographic, the emojis that have been created to represent this community of people with sight loss actually represent a community of people with varying degrees of sight. Sight loss is a spectrum and it affects people differently. So the emojis that have been created to represent us and the people who would use things like a guiding cane or a guide dog may still have some remaining vision. Enough vision for them to be able to see these emojis. For example, take me. I use a guide dog and I also from time to time use a guiding cane, but I still have some remaining vision in my left eye. Enough vision that when something is magnified, I am able to see the different emojis, albeit I have to see them on my iPad and I have to zoom in quite close to be able to see them properly. But suffice it to say, I can still see them with visual aids, and so can many other people. Many other people from the sight loss community can in fact see these emojis, either with visual aids or not. Now, okay, some of you might be thinking, Right, okay, so some people might be able to see these emojis who also happen to use a guide dog or a long cane. But what about the people who are totally blind who can't see these emojis? Aren't those emojis completely obsolete for them? Well, that's where you would be wrong actually, because emojis have been created in a way that is accessible to Apple users with visual impairments. Apple have a feature known as VoiceOver. This is an accessibility feature that has been created for visually impaired Apple users. You can find this by going onto your settings onto your Apple device and then by going into accessibility, and there is a feature known as VoiceOver. Alongside reading out text, the VoiceOver option also enables low vision Apple users to be able to distinguish different emojis. Now the way that it does this is by giving you a very brief description of what each emoji is as you click on it. Let me give you a demonstration.
Frequently used. Woman with light skin tone with a guide cane. 9. Guide dog. 7. Robotic arm and hand. 173. Woman in a manual wheelchair. 300. Man in a powered wheelchair.
So there you go, that's an example of how someone who has low vision can use the VoiceOver feature on their Apple devices to distinguish different emojis and therefore use them. Regardless of whether a person has sight or no sight, they can still access and use these emojis with assistive technology that is available to them on their Apple devices. But the key message here is that it all comes down to representation. For the longest time now, the disability community, which makes up 15% of the world's population, has only had one emoji available to them to represent them as a community. Disability is a spectrum, it's huge, it's vast, it's varied, and we need more than one emoji to represent us. I think people that are making these comments about the blind emojis are, I think, under the impression that Apple have made these emojis without even researching or consulting it. I think in their minds they're probably thinking something like, oh my god, Apple are so stupid, why have they made these emojis for people who can't even use them? Oh my god, Apple, you're so ridiculous, you've not even thought this through. Actually, Apple have made these emojis because people with disabilities like me have been badgering them for years and years to make more than one emoji to represent us. I cannot tell you the amount of times on Twitter when Apple have released new emojis, I have been on there straight away along with other disabled people saying, well, where are the disabled emojis? Where is the guide dog emojis? Don't you think all the guide dogs and assistance dogs out there want to be represented too? Like, where are the emojis that show people with visual impairments? Where are the emojis for people with different mobility disabilities? Where are the emojis for different sensory disabilities? Apple make emojis because of what people request. They have made these emojis because there has been a huge overwhelming demand for them. There has been a demand for disabled emojis for a number of years. Visually impaired people are included in that demand. Visually impaired people like myself have been asking for emojis like these for a very long time, and Apple have finally taken the initiative to make these emojis. So don't think Apple have gone into this blindly, if you'll pardon the pun. So let's summarise this. Do blind people care about emojis? Yes. Can they use them? Yes. Some people with assistive aids like VoiceOver and some without. Do they know that they exist? Yes, we do. And finally, are they happy about them? We are bloody delighted. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I really hope that has answered your question. Let me know in the comments what out of the new Apple emojis is your favourite. If you haven't guessed already, my favourite is the guide dog emoji, and I think my guide dog will be very happy about that, I like to think. And I will see you all in my next one. Bye everyone. Thank you very much. Why is it always when I film I get like a motorbike going past my window?